Opposition parties have criticised President Cyril Ramaphosa's announcement to declare the 15th of December a public holiday, some describing the move as electioneering on the back of South Africa's Rugby World Cup victory. Either way, it'll mean a day of productivity lost. Well, let's discuss this further with the National Employees Association of South Africa's Jaco, Swart. Jaco, good evening. Thanks for your time. Look, it is a bit of a quagmire, isn't it? Because on the one hand, South Africans never complain when there's an additional public holiday. On the other, of course, there is the question about productivity. Does the fact that it's on the 15th of December deal with that, given the fact that business is already winding down at that stage?
Good evening, thank you. Well, first of all, we obviously have to congratulate the Springboks on their achievement. It's a magnificent achievement. But we cannot celebrate that achievement at the expense of the economy. The fact that this public holiday has been announced on the 15th of December may mitigate the effect somewhat, but to say that productivity is no longer happening at that time is not correct. What this will mean, firstly, is that industries, especially manufacturing industries, will have to start shutting down a day earlier. You don't shut down factories and manufacturing entities simply by flipping a switch. It's a whole process of cooling down machines, cleaning down the factory. So that's going to have to happen now a day earlier. Alternatively, those employees will have to work on the 15th, which will mean additional expenses that will have to be paid at overtime rates. Secondly, a lot of industries won't be shutting down. That's holiday season. It's peak time for a lot of industries, hospitality, your restaurants, your tourism, retail is very busy that time of the year. So effectively, those employees would have worked on the 16th in any event. It's a normal working day for them. So effectively, they will be paid overtime rates now for the Friday and the Saturday, which is an expense employers cannot afford.
So if we look at the Jaco, because the public holiday falls on the Saturday, that means that effectively we would have forfeited, in inverted commas, that public holiday. Does this not balance things out? Does it not even out what we would have had anyway?
Well, the answer to that is twofold. That those public holidays works in roundabouts. So next year, that public holiday will fall on a Monday. I beg your pardon, on a Sunday. So that would mean the Monday would be a public holiday. So yet again, employees who normally work on a Sunday, there are lots of them, will have two public holidays, the Sunday and the Monday, and they'll get paid for both. This year round, they will get paid now for the Friday and the Saturday. So it doesn't balance out completely, not at all. It only balances out for industries that actually close down, which isn't the entire economy.
Let's talk about what else the president could have done, because I see that, from a cost perspective, this is a very serious issue, just adding that additional day of work that is either lost or added, depending on which side of the spectrum an organization finds itself in.
Well, is it necessary for a public holiday to celebrate a sporting achievement? And isn't that sending the wrong message in the first place? Shouldn't the message we should be advocating from the Springboks is that hard work and perseverance and breed success, and they should actually work more, not less? So what we're actually saying is, if somebody else has success, we get rewarded. That does not seem to be sending the correct message. It seems to be sending a message of mediocrity.
And the fact that South Africans themselves have been at the forefront of wanting this public holiday, and in fact, making sure that the president, who said the statement very much in jest, was held to the public holiday, and it really seems to have become an issue of credibility for the president.
Yeah, I think what he meant at that stage was, if the Springboks won, he said in jest the following Monday would be a public holiday. And that's what the public and the employers latched onto in order to celebrate the victory and celebrate the returning of the Boks. To make a public holiday on the 15th of December, 6 weeks later, seems to be nonsensical for the purpose it was intended for, in any event. So he probably should not have made that in jest. He should have known South Africans by now. They grab every opportunity they can. So maybe it was a tactical error on his side. But
are the country's employees that upset about this public holiday?
Please just say that again.
I'm asking you, are the country's employers that you represent as an association, are you guys really that upset about this public holiday?
Yes, we are. Business is battling. We all know that the economy is battling. It's in a downward spiral. It has been for ages. We can't afford any measures that further damage the economy, that further damage productivity, that further damages revenue. And it's got a knock-on effect in any event. If you've got less revenue, you've got less tax collection, you've got less money available for the government's budget, which is already in a massive deficit. And what you need to understand is that employers do their costing at the beginning of a year. So this has not been factored in at all in the costing. It's an additional cost. And we already got a heavy calendar of public holidays in any event, which we have to pay for and factor in. So any additional cost is an additional burden on employers, which we can ill afford. Businesses are closing down in droves due to economic conditions. So yes, it is a serious issue.
So then are you going to be trying to negotiate with employees at all around then what the best sort of middle ground around that public holiday might be? Because it very much sounds to me that there could well be a need to try and spread that cost so that it's not just employers that are sitting with it, but at the same time, of course, not really wanting to rain on anybody's parade in terms of the fact that there is this additional public holiday.
Yeah. The problem is there's no real room for negotiation. The Act is quite clear, and the Interpretation Act is quite clear. If it's a public holiday and an employee does not work on the day, he must be paid for the day. And if he works on the day, he must be paid at least a day and a half of his normal wage, depending on the industry he is in. So there's no room for negotiation. That is legislated. And employers are bound by it now, so there's no out.
And I know it's not possible for every industry, right? But perhaps looking at workers putting in extra hours between now and then to make up for the days of work that will be lost on that public holiday, is that an option?
But you run into the same problem. Workers don't work for free. So if they work extra hours, you run into overtime pay again. Then you're again depending on the day they work at time and a half or double time. So it doesn't matter when you work it, whether on the public holiday or they not work or on a different day to make up for it. And you can make those working in time arrangements to make up for public holidays, but you have to pay for it. So the expense is going to remain the same, just going to be spent somewhere else.
Jaco, now I'm not excited about the public holiday anymore.